visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to
Ready? Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Christina, and I'm here with
Brandy.
With Brandy, sorry. We invite you to listen to our broadcast, both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
And this is in the Springfield Daily Citizen. Flock cameras help police arrest Texas murder suspect in Ozark after Amber Alert. Ozark police safely recovered a 4-year-old child who was allegedly abducted from Mansfield, Texas. There's a picture of vehicles in a parking lot and one with a Texas license plate. It says Missouri State Highway Patrol troopers arrested Raymond Carmona at a Casey's gas station in Ozark. Photo provided by Lance Kyler Painter. A Texas man who is a suspect in a murder investigation was arrested in Ozark on Saturday, January 31st, after allegedly abducting a child. Raymond Isaac Carmona, 20, is a suspect in a possible homicide that occurred in Mansfield, Texas on January 30th, according to the Amber Alert broadcast on Saturday afternoon. Carmona also allegedly kidnapped 4-year-old Ephraim Joaquin Carmona from Mansfield, Texas around 2 a.m. on January 30th. The suspect was arrested in Ozark shortly after 2:25 p.m. Amber Alert broadcast, according to Missouri State Highway Patrol Sergeant Mike McClure. A picture of Raymond Isaac Carmona in the orange and white striped jumpsuit about 8 minutes after the alert. The vehicle was spotted in Ozark through the Flock system, he said, referencing Flock Safety's license plate reading cameras. A trooper with MSHP made the stop and arrested Carmona while Ozark police officers recovered the child, who was unharmed. Carmona may be related to the child, according to information local law enforcement received from Texas. McClure said MSHP does not know why the suspect traveled into Missouri. Carmona was booked into the Christian County Jail on a 24-hour hold Saturday on suspicion of third-degree kidnapping. Formal charges did not appear on CaseNet, Missouri's online court database, and a note was added to Carmona's profile on the jail roster reading, PA declined to file. Prosecuting attorney Kristen Toohey said the note indicates there were no charges filed in Christian County within 24 hours after Carmona was booked into the jail. He was still listed on the jail's roster as of Monday afternoon, indicating that he's being held on a warrant from somewhere else. Zoe McIntyre wrote this article. She was born and raised in the Springfield area. She covers Springfield's surrounding communities like Nixa, Ozark, and Republic. While a student at Evangel University, she enjoyed working on staff at the school's radio station and newspaper, where she served as editor-in-chief for 1 year. When she isn't persuading her friends to read more news, she enjoys cooking and thrifting.
Creativity and Community Shine at the library this February. Morgan Shannon, special to the News-Leader. Kids and teens in grades K through 12 can put their creativity to work this February as the library opens its 27th annual Design a Bookmark contest. The contest begins February 1st and entries are due by March 21st. Entry forms will be available at all Springfield Greene County Library branches and on the mobile library and can be downloaded beginning February 1st at thelibrary.org/bookmarks. Completed designs may be returned to any branch, and digital submissions can be emailed to imagine@thelibrary.org. Originals of digital entries may be requested. 1 winner and 3 runners-up will be selected in each grade category: K through 2, 3 through 4, 5 through 6, 7 through 8, 9 through 10, and 11 through 12. Winners will be invited to a reception in April, and first-place designs will be printed as full-color bookmarks distributed at libraries and community events throughout the year. Each winner will also receive a certificate and a Hobby Lobby gift card. All winning designs will be posted at thelibrary.org/bookmarks. Celebrating Black Brilliance Storytime throughout February, Racing to Read Storytimes will feature books by Black authors and illustrators for infants through age 6. Visit thelibrary.org/programs to find dates and times at your branch. Freedom Classroom 101 Community Meet and Greet. Experience the creativity of emerging local talent from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, February 7th in the Midtown Carnegie Branch Library upstairs meeting room. Christine Peoples, Education Coordinator for Timmons Hall's Freedom Classroom 101 series, will host a come-and-go meet and greet featuring exhibits by Samantha Haney, architecture student and intern with the Springfield City Manager's Office, Rachel Kersey, managing editor-writer at Missouri State University, and Marcella Donson, freelance photographer and Hillcrest High School student.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri professors win Grammy while Chappelle Rowan turns heads, by Ahmed Jawadi and Saman Shafiq, USA Today Network. No other outfit at this year's Grammy Awards made heads turn quite like the dress worn by Willard, Missouri's own Chappelle Rowan. The award-winning singer brought her signature vibrant glam with a bold twist to the Grammy Awards red carpet at the Crypto.com Arena in downtown Los Angeles on Sunday, February 1st, wearing a sheer burgundy muggler outfit accented with nipple rings, with her front and back bare and a back tattoo on full display. Rowan completed her look with black and gold heels, minimal jewelry, and her red mane done in curls and braids. For the red carpet interviews, Rowan covered up by draping a matching maroon cape over her look. Makeup artist Andrew Dolling, who did Rowan's makeup, described her look as a muggler medieval fantasy, sharing that they wanted the look to be sultry and smoky with a little 90s influence to honor the era this archival gown comes from. According to People, Rowan's look was inspired by Manfred Theory Muggler's Spring-Summer 1998 Jeu de Paume couture collection, revisited for Spring-Summer 2026 by Miguel Castro Freitas. There's a picture of Chappelle Rowan with her red hair. And Rowan's makeup featured a taupe smoky eye with a touch of shimmering liner paired with what I'm calling a nude red lip, according to Dolling. Ahead of the ceremony, Rowan told Eve's red carpet host, Zuri Hall, that walking the carpet was the hardest part of the whole night for her, adding she likes breaking the mold. Rowan was in the running for Best Pop Solo Performance and Record of the Year, but lost out to Kendrick Lamar and Lola Young, respectively. Her standalone single, The Subway, ranked number 2 on USA Today's Top 10 Songs of 2025 list. Rowan might have been the most famous Missourian at this year's Grammys, but she wasn't the only one nominated. The group Alarm Will Sound, which features Mizzou School of Music faculty members Stefan Freund and Bill Kalinkos, earned Grammy nods in 2 categories, including Best Contemporary Classical Composition and Best Chamber Music Small Ensemble Performance. The 22-member band ultimately took home the top prize in the latter category for its album Donacha Dennehy, Land of Winter.
This is in 417 Magazine, Food and Drink, The Origins of Banh Mi and Me. The creation of a mother-daughter duo, Banh Mi and Me, is one of Springfield's newest places to dig into Vietnamese eats, by Tessa Cooper. Pictured is one of their signature sandwiches. There's a beautiful layer of cilantro on a toasted bun with some jalapenos, some carrots, some cucumbers, and some delicious made meat. And it looks like there's ube drink that is Ube Dream that is listed, that I'll explain in later, along with a picture of the restaurant and a picture of the mother-daughter duo. 3 things at Banh Mi and Me you need to try. Banh Mi and Me serves 7 banh mi, several noodle dishes, and several specialty coffees. Lin and Mui source what they can, I believe I'm saying her name right. Sorry if I'm not. Source that they can hold locally and make everything in-house with the exception of the banh mi bread, which is made from scratch in Joplin. If you want to get a well-rounded taste of the menu on your first visit, here's what we suggest. The OG, Lynn says this is the most authentic Vietnamese banh mi on the menu. It features 3 cuts of meat, Vietnamese ham, roasted pork, and pork roll. Preparing the ham in-house is a labor of love that requires special equipment and hours of steaming, and I will agree it is absolutely amazing. I have been there. Chicken nudes, if you're looking for a lunch that's fresh and nourishing, but also warming and filling, order this. This bowl full of rice, vermicelli noodles, leafy greens, cucumber, and pickled carrots and daikon, which is a Japanese radish, tastes a bit like a deconstructed spring roll. The ginger marinated chicken is as flavorful as it sounds, but the citrus chili fish sauce takes it to another level. Ube Dream, even though Banh Mi and Me offers a solid specialty coffee menu, you won't see an espresso machine in there. They make each beverage the traditional Vietnamese way using a fin. They use Robusta beans, which contain significantly more caffeine than other varieties. Our favorite drink is the Ube Dream, an iced beverage with a generous layer of foam on top. The foam gets its purple hue and subtle vanilla-like flavor from purple yams, and I'm going to have to try that one. I didn't know they had it, and it sounds delicious.
On this day in history, today's birthdays, Nathan Lane was born in 1956, an American actor. In 1904, Pretty Boy Floyd, American gangster, was born. In 1894, Norman Rockwell, American illustrator, was born. 1874, Gertrude Stein, American writer, was born. 1821, Elizabeth Blackwell, a British-American physician, was born. And on this this day in 1690, paper money is printed in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. On this day in 1690 or 1691, the Massachusetts Bay Colony printed 40,000 pounds in paper money, an act that was technically banned by the English crown. This was the first time paper money became widespread in the West, but after conflicts such as King William's War and the French and Indian War, the cash rapidly depreciated in value by almost 40% within a year. Regardless, other American colonies began printing money too. In 2005, Alberto R. Gonzalez was sworn in as the Attorney General of the United States, becoming the first Hispanic American to occupy the post. In 1995, American astronaut Eileen Collins became the first woman to pilot a space shuttle, the Discovery. She later became the first woman to command a space shuttle mission in 1999. In 1975, Egyptian singer Kulthum, who was one of the most famous Arab singers and public personalities of the 20th century, died in Cairo. In 1960, the Italian dramedy La Dolce Vita, The Sweet Life, which was directed by Federico Fellini, had its world premiere, and it became widely hailed as one of the most important films in cinema. The film is known for introducing the word paparazzi to the English language. In 1959, American rock and roll singer Buddy Holly was killed in a plane crash at age 22. Holly was known for his distinctive style of playing the electric guitar. In 1924, former U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, who was president when the U.S. entered World War I, died at age 67. In 1917, not yet invited in World War I, the United States broke off diplomatic relations with Germany after the Germans announced their intention to practice unrestricted submarine warfare.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Master Gardener shares a February to-do list for your summer garden by Helen Vanilla, Master Gardeners of Greene County, special to the News-Leader. What are some gardening chores I can do in February? Is it too early to start seeds indoors? Despite cold weather and frozen ground, there are some gardening chores that are appropriate for February. This is a good month to plan and prep for next season by ordering seeds, cleaning and sharpening tools, adding compost to gardening beds. It is also a good time to focus on seeds starting indoors. Peppers are slower to start, should be started in early to mid-February, while cool season crops, broccoli, cabbage, etc., as well as tomatoes should be started in later February along with basil. Flowers to be started inside this month include pansies, geraniums, and petunias. Perennials can be started inside as well, but those that need cold stratification will need that first step a few weeks prior for success. Cold stratification is a process that copies winter conditions seeds experience outside, needing cold, 33 to 40 degrees, and moist conditions for weeks to months to help the seed coat soften and break dormancy to facilitate germination in the spring. This can be done in the refrigerator. I haven't had much success with houseplants due to poor light in my home. Are there plants that will thrive with lower light levels? All houseplants need a certain amount of light, but there are many that do well with indirect light and require less maintenance than most. Some of the plants that thrive on a small degree of neglect, less light, include golden pothos, money tree, snake plant, Dracaena marginata, aka dragon tree, red prayer plant, Dieffenbachia, cast iron plant, weeping fig tree, heartleaf philodendron, and spider plant. Many of these can survive well being watered once a week or even less often. What is the 70-30 rule in gardening? This is a method of planting a mostly native flower garden, while still incorporating some non-native plants for seasonal color, varied shapes, and also for personal preference. To utilize this concept, 70% of the planting should be native plants adapted to your area's specific ecosystem and soil, while building an ecosystem that will support wildlife, including various pollinators and beneficial insects. These natives should include both nectar and host plants for butterflies or other pollinators, shelter and food for birds and other visitors, and can also include grasses, small trees, and shrubs. Native plants, if located in the correct spot, are very low maintenance, have deeper roots to anchor the soil, and need little to no watering since the roots reach further to seek water. A mostly native garden is balanced and sustainable, provides food and shelter for many as well as being beautiful. The 30% of non-native plants included in this mixture should not include any invasive plant that will disrupt the ecosystem. So due diligence in researching those plants is extremely important. Not all non-native plants are bad as long as they do not spread rapidly or self-sow to a great extent. Many non-natives can be deadheaded to help prevent self-sowing. Readers can pose questions or get information by calling 417-874-2963 and talking to one of the trained volunteers staffing the Master Gardener Hotline at the University of Missouri Extension Center in Greene County, located inside the Botanical Center at 2400 South Scenic Avenue, Springfield, Missouri 65807.
This is in 417 Magazine, inside the Story House bookstore. Siblings Mike Bruner and Penny Scroggs are reopening the former Pagination bookshop space with help from friend Arthur Marks. Together, they are creating the Story House bookstore, a new shop shaped by community art and local stories. Article by Jordan Blomquist. And there's a picture of Mike Bruner, Arthur Marks, and Penny Scroggs in front of white bookshelves filled with books. Last year, Mike Bruner received a call from his longtime friend, Arthur Marks. Though Bruner wasn't living in the Ozarks at the time, the two caught up easily, talking through retirement, family, and life over the years. Before they hung up, Marks extended an invitation that would shift the course of their conversation to see his grandmother's house, once home to the late artist Pinky Marks, as he prepared to clear it out. Bruner visited out of curiosity and walked into a time capsule. It was full of treasures, Bruner says, hundreds and hundreds of pieces of art, original oil paintings, original watercolors, photographs, three-dimensional objects of art. Bruner invited his interior designer's sister, Penny Scroggs, over to have a look, and she was floored. The work was then moved to a secure location and cataloged. A few months later, the house that was home to Pagination Bookshop on Walnut Street was up for sale, and the pieces were simply falling into place for Bruner, Marks, and Scroggs. The three were itching for something new to do with Ozark's verbal and visual arts worlds, and to find a home for Pinky's art collection. Bruner and Marks bought the historic home, and Bruner, Marks, and Scroggs became business partners in what is now the Story House Bookstore, 1105 East Walnut Street, Springfield, Missouri, 65806, 417-402-4513. Marks serves as Chief Financial Officer. Scroggs, the Creative Director, oversees events and staff, while Bruner, as Chief Executive Officer and Director of Strategic Development, works behind the scenes to preserve the building's character and guide the store's appeal to the public. Bruner is originally from the Ozarks, but moved away 45 years ago to become a verbal art professor. He lived all over the place, California, Seattle, Boston, Las Vegas, with his late wife, Meryl. She died early last year, and to honor her, they are hosting the grand opening of the store on March 14th, her birthday. Marks' family owned Marks' clothing store in downtown Springfield for nearly a century. After earning an engineering degree from the University of Missouri, he built an environmental waste company, all while staying deeply involved in Portland, Oregon's jazz scene. He even served as president of the Jazz Society of Oregon. For Scroggs, her children are older now, and she has the desire to build something new. Her love for storytelling came from her husband, who is a filmmaker and scriptwriter, who can turn a grocery store run into an exciting 10-minute story, she says. She also recalls hearing stories from her father as a kid and thinking his tales of growing up on a farm, the youngest of 15 children, were better than any she could read in a book. The arts are really the heartbeat of inspiration, she says. Everybody's creative in some way. There's a couple of pictures of the bookshelves with all kinds of books, and looks like a stuffed bear in the corner. It's cute. The vision for the Story House. One of their first decisions was to integrate pieces of Pinky Marx's artwork into the shop. When you step inside the cozy bookshop, you'll find her paintings all over the walls. Some are her original artwork, and others are pieces she collected from local artists over the years. While they're honoring Pagination's indie spirit and welcoming atmosphere, the siblings have ambitious plans for expansion. Visitors of the bookshop cannot go upstairs. It was used as an Airbnb for some time, as well as office space in the past. They are renovating the store's upstairs space to make room for events like workshops, additional books and gifts, and curated events. They also have dreams of coffee service, outdoor seating, and utilizing the patio space for additional events. They are reaching beyond Springfield city limits. Bruner has met with various MSU and Drury departments and traveled to nearby towns to connect with arts communities throughout the Ozarks. His passion project is celebrating what he calls humble amateurs, which he says are people who create art but don't necessarily see themselves as professional artists. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them here, he says, and they need a place to be seen and heard and have their voices amplified. When she pictures the Storyhouse bookstore a year from now, Scroggs sees the expansion with a wide range of monthly events, more seating and more people. She sees them slowing down, peacefully reading a book outside and sipping coffee, or connecting with someone. I picture people and conversations, she says. Bruner imagines a big happy party. I think this nest is going to get feathered a lot, he says, and we just don't know what kinds of feathers we're going to gather, but it'll be a very warm, cozy, friendly, welcoming place.
Pictured is Doug Pitt, the recipient of the annual Springfieldian Award. He is in a nicely decorated vaulted room, wooden windows in the back. He is standing with his hand on a wicker chair, thick gray pillow on it, and a white couch set behind him. Doug Pitt, named 2026 Springfieldian by SBJ staff. Businessman Doug Pitt has been awarded the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce's highest annual honor. Pitt tonight was recognized as the 2026 Springfieldian during the Chamber's annual meeting, according to a news release. The Springfieldian Award is given annually to an individual with strong community service, excellence in their field, and dedication to improving quality of life for Springfield residents. Pitt co-owns managed service provider Pitt Technology Group, LLC, and leads real estate investment firm Pitt Development Group, LLC, and he also founded nonprofit Care to Learn. His philanthropic work includes support of WorldServe International. He is a guy that leverages all of his business connections and all that success specifically to do good things, said Kevin Waterland, co-owner of Pitt Technology Group, in the release. Crystal Simon, CEO of Care to Learn, added that Pitt has made a profound impact in his career. At the end of the day, legacy is an opportunity to make an incredible impact, and it doesn't have to be when you're older. I think you can do it at a young age, Simon said in the release. The annual Springfieldian recipient is chosen by a selection committee at the Chamber after nominations are submitted. Last year's honoree was Kevin Osborne of SMC Packaging Group. In 2025, Pitt was recognized with Springfield Business Journal's annual Lifetime Achievement in Business honor. He told SBJ at the time that his business and philanthropic endeavors go hand in hand. The acumen is the exact same in Pitt Development Group, Pitt Technology, Care to Learn, WorldServe. We are a business first, and the byproduct is building buildings, doing tech, helping children, clean water, he said in July 2025. But none of those happen unless we're best in class. He is a man of about medium build, fit, with a short blonde haircut, blue eyes, and is wearing a button-down black shirt.
This is in the Springfield Daily Citizen. Missouri Supreme Court affirms death sentence for Craig Wood in Haley Owens murder case. On Tuesday, the Missouri Supreme Court affirmed Craig Wood's death sentence. Wood was sentenced to death in 2018 by now retired Greene County Judge Thomas Mountjoy. Article by Jackie Rewald. Haley Owens was 10 when she was kidnapped and murdered in 2014. There's a picture of her. She's got long brown hair and dark brown eyes and a big smile. 2 months after again hearing arguments about whether the man who kidnapped, raped, and murdered 10-year-old Haley Owens in 2014 should be resentenced, the state's highest court affirmed his death sentence. Craig Wood, 57, was sentenced to death in 2018 by now retired Greene County Judge Thomas Mountjoy. Wood is an inmate at the Potosi Correctional Center. Wood appealed the denial of his 2019 post-conviction motion to have his death sentence vacated. The Missouri Supreme Court affirmed Mountjoy's sentence on Tuesday, January 13th. There's an aerial view of the Potosi Correctional Center and mugshots of Craig Wood. Craig Wood is housed in the Potosi Correctional Center outside the village of Mineral Point in Washington County, Missouri. Wood, who is a stranger to Owens, abducted the Westport Elementary fourth grader off the 3200 block of West Lombard Street on February 18, 2014, and drove her to his home. There, prosecutors say he raped her and then shot her in the back of the head. Wood's public defender, William Swift, made oral arguments on November 5, 2025, to the Missouri Supreme Court. He used most of that time to talk about statements Greene County prosecuting attorney Dan Patterson made to the jury during the penalty phase of Wood's trial. Attorney claimed prosecutor misled jury. At the November 2025 hearing, Swift reminded the justices of comments Patterson made in closing arguments during the penalty phase of the trial. With your verdict, sentencing him to the ultimate punishment, you speak for Haley, the Greene County prosecutor had said, followed by an objection from Wood's defense attorney. You speak for her family. Swift argued that Patterson worked to keep out evidence that Haley's mother, Stacy Barfield, wanted Wood to be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Swift said Patterson was telling the jury, over the defense attorney's objections, that by imposing a death sentence, the jury would be speaking for Haley and for her family's wishes. As Swift made this argument, Justice Zell Fisher interrupted. There's a picture of an estimated 10,000 people gathered on Commercial Street in 2014 to remember Haley Owens. That wasn't what the argument was, though, Fisher said. He didn't say that her mother wanted death. I mean, this was an argument that was brought up in the direct appeal, and it seems to me that this court's opinion in the direct appeal is somewhat similar to the trial court's judgment, that this argument was a send-the-message type argument, not that the family did or didn't want death as a punishment. Swift said then he believed the trial court erred in not sustaining the objection and allowing Patterson to make the comment. While it wasn't explicitly said, that was the clear gist of the argument, and that's what the dissenting opinion pointed out, Swift said. I think it was made very clear that that was what was being argued, that Haley Owens' family wanted death. AG viewed Patterson's argument differently, Supreme Court agreed. Assistant Attorney General Daniel McPherson only made a few oral arguments at the 2025 hearing, stating that there's another way to look at Patterson's argument. There's another picture of Haley on her bed with all kinds of stuffed animals. I think this is the way that the trial court looked at it and the way this court looked at it on direct appeal, McPherson had said. And what the prosecutor was arguing was that the death penalty was an appropriate remedy for the trauma that was caused to the family. And that would be based on the evidence that was presented at the sentencing hearing by members of the family, including the great-grandmother and the aunts who talked about the trauma that they experienced due to the loss of this child, McPherson said. This is not a case of a clear-cut misstatement of fact, if it was a misstatement of fact at all. The prosecutor at no point ever explicitly said any member of the family wanted a particular punishment, and certainly never said that any particular member of the family wanted to impose death, he said. It was arguing the impact on the family, the impact on the community, and it was an appropriate argument, as the court found on direct appeal. McPherson also argued that Wood's attorneys don't get another crack at litigating the same arguments in a post-conviction case. Supreme Court rejects Wood's argument. In the January 13th decision, the court wrote in part, Wood's claim is premised on his assertion the prosecutor knowingly made false representations that Haley's family wanted Wood sentenced to death. This court rejected the factual premise of this argument on direct appeal by holding state did not argue any of Haley's family members wanted the death penalty, and this was a permissible send-a-message argument. The motion court did not clearly err by denying Wood's claim of prosecutorial misconduct, an ongoing battle to avoid the death penalty. The Missouri Supreme Court affirmed Wood's conviction and death sentence in July 2019. In November 2019, Wood filed a motion pro se without an attorney, asking the court to vacate, set aside, or correct the judgment of his conviction. This document was 6 pages long. Then on March 26, 2020, and with the assistance of an attorney, Wood filed a 231-page amended motion that contained 22 claims. Mountjoy returned to the bench in March 2024 to oversee a 3-day hearing, at which Wood's legal team asked the court to vacate, set aside, or correct the judgment of his conviction and death sentence. After more than 3 months of deliberation, Mountjoy denied Wood's motion. Another picture of Craig Wood in an orange jumpsuit. He was transported from Potosi Correctional Center to the Greene County Jail on March 22, 2024. Wood's most recent appeal presented more than 20 questions for the court regarding whether the circuit court should have granted Wood post-conviction relief. Some questions include whether Wood received ineffective assistance of counsel during the guilt phase of his trial and claims of prosecutorial misconduct.
From SBJ Business Journal, 5-pound apparel transitioning to online-only business. There's a picture of Facebook, courtesy of the 5-pound apparel Facebook page, showing their shop. There's a lot of clothing to the left against a brick wall, wooden flooring, and shelving with different items for sales, such as candles, glassware, mugs, gifts, handbags, and a lot of wear from local artisans. And this is by Jeff Pickle, digital editor, available at gpickle@sbj.net. Springfield-based clothing and home accessories retailer 5-Pound Apparel, LLC, which does business as 5-Pound Apparel, is transitioning to an online-only business model. Brina Thomas, who owns the company with husband Ben, said in an interview this morning that 5-Pound Apparel's downtown storefront at 412 South Avenue would close to customers on March 1st. The company maintains the lease on the building through the end of 2026, and the facility will be used during that time as an online and wholesale warehouse, she said. Thomas said 5-Pound Apparel came to the decision when holding annual planning meetings that showed growth in online sales and wholesale accounts, over 30 from California to Maryland, outpacing in-store business, she said. It really just makes sense for us to test out that just having an online and wholesale and seeing if that can be sustainable for us long term. The numbers show that for us, Thomas said. Thomas reiterated that 5-Pound Apparel will very much remain in business. We're just deciding to meet our customers where they are, and they're shopping with us online, she said. Thomas said 5-Pound Apparel would offer free or low-cost shipping to local customers. The majority of wholesale accounts carry 5-Pound Apparel accessories such as belts, wallets, and candles, she added. Brina and Ben Thomas purchased 5-Pound Apparel in January 2017 from founder Brian Simpson, who started the company in 2010, according to Springfield Business Journal archives. A Farmers Park location of 5-Pound Apparel closed in December 2020.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Winter Jam 2026, bringing top Christian artists to Springfield in March, by Janice Reeser. The Winter Jam 2026 tour is scheduled to return to arenas across the country, offering fans a chance to experience live performances from some of Christian music's biggest names. The tour, founded and produced by New Song and promoted in partnership with TPR, is expected to feature artists including Chris Tomlin, Matthew West, Katie Nichol, Hovey, Disciple, Emerson Day, and New Song, according to a community announcement. The tour will visit 40 cities nationwide, including Springfield, on March 20th at Great Southern Bank Arena, 685 South John Q. Hammonds Parkway. For more information, visit https://jamtour.com/03-20-springfield.html. Fans who arrive early can enjoy the pre-jam party featuring Jeremy Jeremy Rosado, Heath Brothers, and Cliff Preston. Tour aims to unite fans through music. We are in a moment in our country, one of revival and awakening that is being sparked by young people. Each night of Winter Jam is an opportunity to experience how God is continuing to move and use this generation, Tomlin said in the announcement. Let's come together as the people of God, singing the praises of God in the presence of God. Winter Jam is known for its no-ticket required approach, with admission costing a $15 donation at the door. Fans can also join Jam Nation for early admission, exclusive merchandise, and opportunities to connect with artists during select Q&A sessions. Fans can find more information, city-specific details, and Jam Nation registration at jamtour.com.
Forest States Bank opens first Queen City branch. Carthage-based company projects adding $75 million in assets in 2026. There is a gentleman in a black suit coat with a white button-down shirt, brown belt, and jeans in a modern designed bank. Following its 2024 debut as the first new bank charter approved in Missouri in roughly 16 years, Carthage-based Forest States Bank has opened a Queen City branch. The Springfield location opened to customers January 5th at 2045 South Glenstone Avenue, said Jeff Williams, president and CEO of the company, dubbed 4SB for short. It's the third branch for 4SB, joining its locations at 1946 South Garrison Avenue in Carthage and 1232 South Rangeline Road in Joplin, both of which he said opened in August 2024. The company also runs an operations center at 213 Lyon Street in Carthage. It's always been part of our plan to establish ourselves as a regional bank, not a Springfield bank or a Joplin bank, Williams said, adding roughly 40% of the bank's shareholders as based in the Springfield area. Our whole strategy was to launch down there and then expand up here as fast as we could get here. And we're very pleased that within 12 months of actually opening, we were approved for this branch, and we just got it open. Williams, along with Carter Peters, the company's chief financial officer and chief operating officer, spoke with Springfield Business Journal on January 26th at its new Springfield location. Of the company's 31 employees, officials say 11 are working in Springfield, which includes 3 new hires who form a mortgage department for the local branch. Williams said 4SB's targeted audience is small to medium-sized businesses. While it also works with customers on their mortgage needs, such as home loans and home equity lines of credit, Williams estimated roughly 90% of its business to date is commercial-related. Williams said as of the end of 2025, 4SB has accrued $95 million in assets, $70.6 million in loans, and $71.5 million in deposits. Peter said those numbers are exceeding expectations. An SBJ review of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corps' most recent deposit market share data shows 4SB would rank among the smallest of the existing 40 banks in the Springfield metro area. We're pretty aggressive with our projections, Williams said. I think we're not going to double in size this year, but I would say we project $170 million or so in total assets. As operations were entirely in Carthage and Joplin up until January, Peter said 4SB is planning to reallocate some of its assets to Springfield, most likely in the first half of this year. We figured it'll take a bit of time to get things moving here, he said of the new branch activity. We'll really start to see it ramp up probably near year 2 and 3 for Springfield. In Springfield, the bank occupies approximately 7,000 square feet of the ground floor in the 2-story Glenstone Avenue building between Cherokee and Seminole Streets. Williams declined to disclose startup costs and terms of the 5-year lease the company signed with building owner South Glenstone, LLC. He said the lease has multiple extension options. The 14,000 square foot building previously housed a Regions Bank branch on the first floor, but had sat vacant for years, Williams said. We did some renovations to the lobby area, but there were no structural issues or any mechanical or plumbing issues, he said, noting opening a brick-and-mortar location in Springfield was always the plan for its third branch. It was all in great condition. The Springfield branch is by far the largest of the 3. As Williams previously told SBJ, the Carthage and Joplin branches are around 1,200 square feet each. In a name. As for its name, officials say 4 States Bank was started with a regional approach in mind. Joplin is the center of what is called the 4 States region, Williams said, noting the bank's regional focus is based in the area that encompasses southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, and southwest Missouri. Williams said 4SB has investors and customers in all 4 of those states. However, adding branches beyond Missouri isn't being pursued at this time. The wonderful thing about modern technology and banking today is you don't always have to have a huge branch network, he said. We would certainly entertain the idea of growth and demand in those markets warrant. I would certainly say that's on the radar, but who knows if that will happen. Williams said he and Peters got the ball rolling on launching 4SB. Combined, the two have over 50 years of experience in the banking industry, with Williams most recently serving as Joplin Region President for Liberty Bank and Guarantee Bank, while Peters previously served as CFO at Guarantee Bank. Williams said he also had been part of a startup, Hometown Bank, over 20 years ago in Carthage. That bank was acquired in 2018 by Guarantee Federal Branchers, Inc., NASDAQ, GFED, according to SBJ Archives. Just having that history of being involved in a startup in the past was something that got me excited about doing it again, Williams said. The two assembled an executive team that includes Board Chair Gary Metzger, a banking veteran of 45 years who oversaw Liberty Bank in Springfield leading up to its 2015 acquisition by Simmons Bank, Chief Credit Officer Cheryl Holyfield, Chief Information Officer Nick Lavaro, who previously held the same title at Guarantee Bank. Williams and Peters are also on the board of directors along with Logan Aguirre, J. Ryan Hamilton, Gary Robinson, Jerry Ross, Patrick Scott, Stephen Simon, Stephanie Stanger, and Brian Williams, officials say. In June 2024, 4SB announced it had received regulatory approvals from the Missouri Division of Finance and the FDIC. It operates as a wholly owned subsidiary of 4 States Bankshares, Inc., which acts as the bank's holding company. Ahead of its planned opening in summer 2024, Williams said that the 4 States Bankshare, Inc. raised about $25.5 million in capital and invested roughly $23.5 million of that total in the bank. It was the lone capital raised for the company to date, he said. Peters said 4SB's entry into the industry comes as the Southwest Missouri market is saturated with larger banks. Those large institutions tend to have more red tape when it comes to decision-making, he said. Smaller banks, you can get quicker decisions, and you're right here. We're the decision-makers, he said of staff in Springfield, Carthage, and Joplin. You don't have to go to somebody in St. Louis or Kansas City. Growth opportunities. No additional local branches are in the works, officials say. But Peters said they're excited to launch a physical presence in Springfield. We have a lot of opportunity there with businesses and U.S. Small Business Administration lending opportunities, and the market's still growing, he said. We're just now developing our mortgage team here in Springfield, so I know that's got tremendous opportunity. Aside from posts on its social media platforms, Williams said positive word of mouth through referrals from investors and businesses has largely been the company's primary means of promotion. It's been a manageable place for us, he said, noting many of the company's employees were added in the last quarter of 2025. We want to take care of all the business we can, but we want to do this at a measured pace. That way we can keep our employees busy, but not where they have to work 80 hours a week.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Have a I can't even talk today. Have a tree stand in a Missouri conservation area. You have to take it down. By Ahmed Jawadi. The Missouri Department of Conservation is reminding hunters to remove their portable tree stands from conservation areas by the end of the month. Hunters have until February 1st to take their stands down in areas where black bear, deer, or elk hunting is allowed, the MDC said in a news release. This is in accordance with Missouri's Wildlife Code, which allows for portable tree stands to be used in conservation areas only from September 1st through January 31st. What does the Missouri Wildlife Code say about tree stands? Excuse me. Outside of the 5-month time frame, Rule 3 CSR 10-11.145 also requires hunters to plainly label their stands on a durable material with their full name and address or conservation number when it's not in use. The use of nails, screw-in steps, or any material or method that would damage the tree is not allowed. What happens if I don't take my stand down in time? If any tree stands are found on conservation areas after February 1st, they may be confiscated by conservation agents as evidence until an owner can be determined or a court order for their disposition can be obtained.
Partial government shutdowns begin. While the Senate has approved legislation, a partial government shutdown started Saturday as the funding package awaits House approval. I'm confident that we'll do it at least by Tuesday, said House Speaker Mike Johnson Republican Louisiana. The Senate's legislation includes Homeland Security funding after President Donald Trump made a deal with Democrats. It's popping. Sorry, we're having issues. It just keeps popping up.
Human intelligence. Is it more hype than help? This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Everyone is talking about intelligent agents these days, but I have to admit I'm not totally convinced. The whole world is raving about how important and unique these things are, and I'm just not sold. I'm talking, of course, about HI, which stands for human intelligence. Sure, humans have scaled brains, but there's nothing fundamentally new about the hardware. It's just bigger and more complicated. The hype alone isn't such a big deal. However, folks are acting on faulty beliefs, and it's causing real harm. Humans keep getting hired for critical tasks, such as driving vehicles, despite mounting evidence that more reliable alternatives exist. Courts continue accepting human testimony, even though research shows eyewitness accuracy hovers around 40%. So, is human intelligence all it's cracked up to be? Let's take a look at a few of the most common issues with humans that might make you think twice the next time you're trying to decide between using a human or using a trusted piece of machinery. The hallucination problem. The mainstream media hasn't covered this as much in recent decades, but if you lived through the 60s or the 90s, then you know all too well that humans can hallucinate. What is a hallucination? Well, the human brain is complicated. It's really a black box that even our best science still can't decipher what's going on in there with 100% accuracy. And the most minor things can make a human hallucinate, including tiny molecules that are sometimes found in moldy bread or naturally growing mushrooms and even some kinds of weeds. Although some of the humans hallucinate due to intrinsic hardware issues, any human can hallucinate if given the wrong inputs. Even without special inputs, humans routinely generate false memories, invent details to fill gaps in their knowledge, and genuinely believe things that never happened. Psychologists call such phenomena confabulation, but that's really just a fancy word for unreliable. Confidently wrong at scale. More troubling, humans are often most confident when they're most wrong. Studies show that human certainty has essentially zero correlation with human accuracy. A human can be absolutely certain they locked the door, turned off the stove, or sent that email, and be completely mistaken. This wouldn't be such a problem if humans acknowledge their unreliability, but they don't. They often double down or get defensive. At worst, humans can knowingly deceive others in a process called lying. In legal settings, that witness who swears they saw the defendant, research suggests they're wrong nearly 60% of the time in high-stress situations, but we built an entire justice system around trusting them anyway. Severe context window limitations. Humans can only hold between 4 and 7 pieces of information in their working memory at once. Try explaining anything moderately complex to a human, and they'll nod along for the first few points, then their eyes glaze over. You can actually see the hardware failing. This is a real problem in business contexts. Email messages that must be extremely short, ideally conveying only a single point or ask. Try adding more than one query or piece of information, and often the human will respond only to the first one. Humans need information repeated, contextualized, repeated again, and then someone needs to send a summary email. Mandatory maintenance cycles. Humans require approximately 8 hours of daily downtime for maintenance. It's a process that experts call sleep, but let's be honest about what it is. Forced shutdown for essential repairs and garbage collection. Skip this maintenance cycle even once, and human performance degrades measurably. Skip it repeatedly, and humans start hallucinating even without funky inputs. Humans also need regular refueling every few hours, i.e. meals, and other tedious little updates throughout the day. Coffee, snacks, bathroom breaks, and on and on. The average human spends about 16 hours per week just on basic maintenance and fueling operations. Critical security vulnerabilities. As sophisticated as some claim them to be, humans are remarkably susceptible to social engineering attacks. A sufficiently motivated bad actor can manipulate most humans with embarrassingly simple techniques. Phishing emails, phone scams, sob stories, appeals to authority, manufactured urgency. The human bias toward trusting other humans creates systemic vulnerabilities. Our economy loses billions of dollars annually to fraud that exploits those weaknesses, cons that wouldn't work on even a moderately sophisticated spam filter. Yet humans fall for this stuff constantly. Worse, humans exhibit confirmation bias, anchoring bias, availability bias, and about 180 other documented cognitive vulnerabilities. These aren't bugs we can patch. They're fundamental features of ancient architecture. The alignment problem. Perhaps most troubling is humanity's chronic misalignment between stated values and actual behavior. Humans say they prioritize family, then work 80-hour weeks. They claim to care about the environment while driving alone to the gym. They express concern about privacy and then post their entire lives on social media. This isn't hypocrisy exactly. It's a deeper design flaw. Human reward systems frequently incentivize behaviors that undermine human goals. Humans optimize for likes instead of connection, test scores instead of learning, promotions instead of meaningful work. But seriously, I'm not actually arguing we should replace humans with machines for everything. I'm pointing out that the same criticisms we level at AI apply to the squishy meatbags we're already trusting with much more important tasks. We're all biased by training data we call upbringing. Our brains confabulate and our memories are severely limited. We require constant maintenance and we're vulnerable to manipulation, and we pursue our goals in ways that undermine our stated values. There's a picture of a guy with a virtual reality headset on. It says, Iowa State graduate student Elreza Bahari demonstrates a virtual reality application that uses artificial intelligence on December 15, 2025, at Iowa State University's new AI lab. The question isn't whether AI is perfect. The question is, can AI reliably perform better than a human at a given task? Because here's what nobody wants to say out loud. The biggest risk with AI might not be that it's too different from human intelligence. It might be that it's too similar. Gabriel Cassidy owns an AI consulting business in Springfield and writes regularly about AI and technology. Learn more about Gabriel and his AI work at gabrielcassidy.com.
All right, more on the government shutdown from the Springfield News-Leader. A picture of the government building. Washington, a fix appeared within reach for lawmakers in the House of Representatives on the fourth day of a partial government shutdown over immigration enforcement and the January killings of 2 Minnesotans by federal agents. Yes, updated February 3rd. Just double checking that I was reading the right one. Congress is readying a funding package to fund the Department of Homeland Security for just 2 weeks, while lawmakers negotiate over broader reforms to the agency, which includes Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, and Customs and Border Protection, or CBP. President Donald Trump told reporters in the Oval Office on Monday afternoon that he'd spoken to GOP leaders in the House and Senate. I think they're pretty close to a resolution, he said. A committee in the House advanced the group of 5 appropriations bills, plus the short-term DHS spending measure on Monday night. The larger chamber is expected to vote on proceeding to end the shutdown, though a lack of widespread support from House Democrats will mean the White House will need as many Republican votes as possible. Johnson looks ahead to debate over ICE reforms. Ahead of a vote on government funding legislation, House Speaker Mike Johnson laid out the fight ahead over immigration issues that will quickly consumer lawmakers if the House passes the spending bill. The funding measure only extends Department of Homeland Security spending for 2 weeks, while lawmakers debate immigration enforcement issues. Trump has been negotiating with Senate Democrats on ICE reforms, but Johnson said the House Republicans would engage on the issue as well and won't go down the road of amnesty. You can't in any way lighten the enforcement requirement of federal immigration law, Johnson said in a press conference. We have to enforce our immigration law. The American people made that their number one issue in the last election. Johnson, Democrats in a family squabble. House Speaker Mike Johnson projected confidence Tuesday the House would vote to end the partial shutdown. He also ribbed Democrats who he said are clearly divided between the House and Senate over what types of DHS reforms their party wants as a 2-week deadline looms. Unlike House Democrats, Senate Democrats fully united in support of an agreement to end the shutdown last week. The Democrats are in a family squabble over there, he told reporters on Tuesday. Conservatives back off threat to vote down funding bill. Republican lawmakers have dropped their threat to vote against the government funding bill unless it is amended to incorporate voter ID legislation. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Republican Florida, wrote on social media that the price for her vote was amending the legislation. But she later told reporters February 2nd that she and fellow GOP lawmaker Tim Burchett, Republican Tennessee, had dropped their demand and would vote to advance the legislation when it comes up for a procedural vote this morning. As of right now, with the current agreement that we have, as well as discussions, we will both be a yes on the rule, Luna said, according to Fox News. Trump had pushed back against lawmakers' demands for changes to the funding bill in a social media post, and Luna said Senate Majority Leader John Thune agreed to hold a vote on the voter ID bill, according to Fox News. The GOP position to the legislation threatened its chances of passing in a chamber where Republicans hold a slim majority. Zach Anderson. Votes to end shutdown on tight margin. Tuesday's votes, one around 11:15 and another at approximately 1 p.m., may hinge on a tight margin, depending on how many Democrats get on board. While House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat New York, signaled Monday that Democrats wouldn't be voting en masse for the shutdown ending funding package, signs emerged this week that others in his party were taking a different tack. Representative Rosa DeLauro, Democrat Connecticut, who represents Democrats on the House Appropriations Committee, said she'd be supporting the bill. The shift was notable given she was a no vote when the House first sent the initial versions of the measures, which she played a big role in negotiating and originally fully funded DHS over to the Senate. Zach Shermiel. Stark partisan divide over immigration enforcement funding. Leaders of the House Rules Committee, which moved the shutdown-ending funding package forward on Monday night, revealed a sharp partisan divide. Representative Virginia Fox, Republican North Carolina, said the House never flirted with a government shutdown, but she said that the Senate torpedoed a previous spending package. She encouraged quick approval of the measure to allow lawmakers to work on other matters. To describe this as disappointing would be an understatement, Fox said. This process should have been over and done with by now. The top Democrat on the committee, Representative Jim McGovern of Massachusetts, spoke for many Democrats in opposing the spending legislation for DHS, citing the fatal shootings of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Peretti last month. "I'm not voting to fund this agency for 2 seconds, let alone 2 weeks," McGovern said. "They are terrorizing our communities and acting like they're above the law." Is Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid impacted during the government shutdown? No. Mandatory spending that is not subject to annual appropriations, including Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, does not close during a partial shutdown, according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. National parks and food inspection services are running as normal too, the CRFB says. But the partial closure can mean certain federal operations are stopped or scaled back to ensure only essential work is happening. For example, guidance from the Department of Education ahead of the lengthy 2025 shutdown said investigations into civil rights complaints would be paused. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says in its contingency plan for the fiscal year, it will not be able to process public information requests, and the National Institutes of Health will not admit new patients in clinical research trials. But it said the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention would continue monitoring for outbreaks.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Pheasant Hunt helps SBS students build understanding of the outdoors by Marta Mees. Key points. Springfield Public Schools middle schoolers are participated in a pheasant hunt as part of their outdoor awareness class. The program is a partnership with the Missouri Department of Conservation to teach students about hunting, safety, and conservation. The long-standing program aims to build confidence, connect students with nature, and teach them about wildlife management. The Ozarks, known for their natural beauty and outdoor recreation, are a home and destination for fishermen, hunters, and campers alike. Hearing dozens of gunshots ring out over a shooting range or conservation area may not be out of the ordinary, but on Tuesday, January 20th, gaggles of 7th and 8th graders were the ones pulling the triggers. Students from Westport K-8 and Cherokee and Carver middle schools spent the day at the Andy Dalton Shooting Range and Outdoor Education Center as part of their outdoor awareness class curriculum in partnership with the Missouri Department of Conservation. Over the course of 4 weeks, fifth graders in the Wonders of the Ozarks Learning Facility, or WOLF program, and middle schoolers from different schools across Springfield Public Schools are learning to properly hold shotguns and go on their own pheasant hunts. The day started with a safety briefing, with MDC staff teaching the proper stance when shooting, the necessary safety equipment, types of ammunition, and other pertinent information. As a prerequisite, all students had to have taken and passed hunter education in advance of the field trip. There's a picture of what appears to be an adult and a middle schooler in orange vests and hats, student holding a shotgun up to shoot at a pheasant. Students first practiced their aim with clay pigeons. Then after lunch, students were able to fire at live birds during a managed and controlled hunt. Accompanied by a group of MDC safety officers, volunteers, and staff, the middle school students in pairs went out into a field where at 4 different spots they had the opportunity to hunt a pheasant that was released into the air. The harvest was then retrieved with the help of a bird dog, illustrating another aspect of hunting to the students. While not reflective of a real hunt where animals have to be sought out, MDC staff noted it was important to have every factor controlled to ensure safety. In order to carry out the educational exercises, a special hunting permit was granted. Typically, pheasant hunting season runs through January 15th, and only male pheasants may be taken. The pheasants used during the January 20th hunt came from a bird game farm in Halltown. Another picture of a student holding a shotgun with a orange cap and vest on. Kaya Hornsby, an 8th grader at Carver Middle School, takes aim during a managed pheasant hunt at the Andy Dalton Shooting Range and Outdoor Education Center on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. More than just a harvest. Adeline Clymer, an 8th grader at Carver Middle School, was among the first students to go out on the hunt and was successful in harvesting her own hen. She wore a proud smile as she carried her bird back from the field to be processed. A group of MDC volunteers cleaned and processed the birds for students to take home, teaching them what to do next. MDC's Education District Supervisor Marty Marsh said being able to experience firsthand the food chain of putting a harvest on the table is an important aspect of understanding the Ozarks, even if students' family themselves may not follow a pond-to-plate traditions. There's another picture of a conservation officer and students in orange vests and hats walking in the area carrying a pheasant. And it's Carver Middle School 8th grader Adeline Clymer carries her harvested pheasant back after a hunt managed by the Missouri Department of Conservation at the Andy Dalton Shooting Range and Outdoor Education Center on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Adeline said she wasn't expecting to actually shoot a bird. She had only shot one of the practice clay pigeons, but she had already been on a pheasant hunt before in 5th grade through wolf. It made me happy, especially getting it from the dog, she said. Not all of the students were so lucky, and many birds escaped, soaring into the blue skies. Kaya Hornsby, an 8th grader at Carver, went on the hunt alongside Adeline, but did not harvest a bird on her first round of the hunt. And there's a picture of a bird dog with a pheasant in its mouth. Hunting dog Annie retrieves a pheasant shot by a middle school student during a hunt managed by the Missouri Department of Conservation on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Harvesting a bird doesn't equate success, Marsh said. There's a lot more to success than getting a bird. Look at the growth process that you went through and the awareness and the knowledge that you now have. That's part of the success, too. For Kaya, it was her first time experiencing anything like Tuesday's hunt. I was nervous, Kaya said. It looked a lot harder than it actually is. Both Adeline and Kaya agreed that more kids should get involved and learn about outdoor awareness. Adeline said it is also a way to try new things and see immediate reward and a sense of accomplishment. I think kids should physically get outside more, Kaya said. They got to get out more, learn how to do things. Creating understanding of nature, building confidence. The program and the option for students to try their hand at hunting is not new. Warren Rose, MDC's Education Regional Supervisor, said the partnership with with SPS dates back 15 years, though initially it was only available to students enrolled in the WOLF program. Only a few years ago, the field experience expanded to include outdoor awareness students at all middle schools. By the end of the 4 weeks, he said roughly 80 SPS students will have tried hunting for themselves. Rose said, whether kids go on to hunt later or simply enjoy a hike through the woods every once in a while, the experiences they can grow their appreciation and understanding conservation in the state. They also understand the need for hunting and for fishing, and in particular, hunting and wild population control. Hunting is our management tool, he said. There's a lot through hunter education beyond just learning how to hunt. It's actually learning how to hunt is just one small piece. It teaches students about responsibility, ethics, morals, regulations, discipline, and the list goes on. That carries value regardless of what the activity is. Marsh said when kids feel more connected to school and learning, they typically perform better academically, persist to graduation, have fewer discipline incidents, and ultimately see stronger outcomes. Outdoor education, including having the option to try their hand at hunting, is another alternative option to help kids connect with their learning and respond to unique interests. The bigger picture is we're developing relationships and we're enhancing a kid's experience in life, and we're really creating lifelong learners, Marsh said. There's no better joy than to see a kid experience success out here and then be able to transfer that success to other areas of life. With SPS leaning into and expanding the program, Rose said more schools are also coming on board with an outdoor awareness curriculum. Marsh said the MDC is trying to implement its Discover Nature Schools science curriculum in schools all across the Southwest Missouri region to better educate local students and continue to lead the nation in the department's accomplishments in conservation and nature awareness. If nothing else, we are creating community-minded citizens that appreciate conservation, fish, forest, and wildlife, and the beauty of the natural resources that we have in the state of Missouri, Marsh said. Connecting to generational tradition. Rob Leeper has taught outdoor education at Carver Middle School for the past 8 years. He said that the hunting field experience is a way to reward the hard work students have already put in inside the classroom. I'm hopeful that they will go from this experience and go forward and actually try to get outdoors themselves. That's really what my goal is for the kids, Leeper said. Ahead of Tuesday's hunt, he said he saw a mix of emotions in his class. Some students and their parents were nervous and needed reassurance that safety measures were in place, while others were already familiar with the practice and excited for the unique experience during school hours.
Springfield News-Leader, SEC softball power rankings. Will Texas hold off OU, Tennessee in 2026? I'm not great at sports, so please bear with me if I'm not saying something correctly. Jenny Carlson from the Oklahoman. There is a short video of Patty Gasso along with several softball players, Ella Parker, and I had the name here a second ago. I changed it. And Gabby, I believe, doing an after event sports. Wow, my brain totally forgot of words. Anyway, answering questions from reporters. SEC softball had a banner season a year ago. It produced the national champion Texas, as well as 3 of the 4 teams in the national semifinals and 5 of the 8 teams in the Women's College World Series. It claimed the top 4 seeds in the NCAA tournament, 7 of the top 8 and 9 of the top 16. It sent 14 teams to the tournament, setting an NCAA record for qualifiers from a single conference. About the only knock against the league, Texas A&M failed to survive regionals. The Aggies, so tough throughout the season, landed the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, then lost on their home field to Liberty and became the first top seed in tournament history to be eliminated from its own regional. Still, the overall results were spectacular for the SEC to lose the number 1 seed and still win the title. That's heady stuff. So will the conference be as deep this season? As the college softball season opens this week, there's no doubt the SEC has several of the best teams in the country. Texas, Oklahoma, and Tennessee are consensus top 4 picks in whatever preseason poll you prefer, with Texas Tech as the only non-SEC interloper. The rest of the conference might not be as stout as it was a year ago. Sending all but one team to the NCAA tournament is an extremely high bar. But make no mistake, SEC softball isn't for the faint of heart. Here's a look at the preseason edition of the SEC Softball Power Rankings. Number 1, Texas, 2025 record 56-12, 16-8. The defending national champs remain loaded, anchored by ace Tegan Cavan and catcher Reese Atwood, who led the nation with 89 RBIs a year ago. Number 2, Oklahoma, 2025 record 52-9, 17-7. Just because the Sooners didn't win it all a year ago doesn't mean they've taken a step back. Ella Parker, Cassidy Pickering, Gabby Garcia, look out softball world. There's a picture of OU softball Media Day 2026 of Patty Gasso with the Oklahoma Sooners, and our top photo with Patty Gasso and the Oklahoma softball team. And she is pictured with a black hoodie and long blonde hair. 3, Tennessee, 2025 record 47-17, 15-9. Everybody knows about Carlin Pickens' power, fastest pitch in college softball and all that. But freshman catcher Elsa Morrison has a different kind of power. Bombs away. Cassidy Pickering. I knew I was saying that wrong. 4, Arkansas, 2025 record 44-14, 14-10. National Player of the Year Bree Ellis is gone, so offense is a question. But Arkansas has a for-sure ace in Robin Herron, who should be able to shoulder innings and pressure. 5, Florida, 2025 record 48-17, 14-10. Keegan Rothrick's continued evolution in the circle will be vital, even with significant offensive losses. Rebuilding around Taylor Shoemaker is a great place to start. Number 6, Alabama, 2025 record 40-23, 12-12. Audrey Vandegrift had an amazing freshman year. What will this speedy outfielder do for an encore? Another question, will ace Jocelyn Breesky get help from the pitching rotation? Number 7, LSU, 2025 record 42-16, 12-12. Offense doesn't look like an issue with Tori Edwards, Macy Bergeron, and company, but with Sydney Berzon's transfer, sophomore Jaden Hevner will need to lead the pitchers. Number 8, South Carolina, 2025 record 44-17, 13-11. Who steps into Sam Gress's shoes as the ace is a huge question, but the Gamecocks have 4 players back who hit over .330 a year ago, led by Quincy Lelio. 9, Georgia. 2025 records, 35-23, 7-16. The Bulldogs hooked a huge fish out of the transfer portal in righty Addison Fisher from UCLA, win the close SEC games that were lost a year ago, and look out for Georgia. There's a picture of Texas Longhorns are the reigning WCW's champions, but are they the team to beat in our way to early college softball rankings for 2027? And we have 2 of the girls hugging and celebrating while other team players are rushing them to also celebrate. 10, Texas A&M, 2025 records, 48-11, 16-7. No SEC team was hit harder by graduation. Emily Kennedy and Mac Barbara topped the loss list. Oklahoma State transfers Talon Edwards and Michaela Wark are big adds. 11, Mississippi State, 2025 record, 39-19, 13-11. The Bulldogs decided they needed to build a pitching staff instead of depending on one arm, so what transfers Peha Gould, Alyssa Faircloth, and Leela Ammon will be big. 12, Ole Miss, 2025 record, 42-21, 11-13. A surprise WCWS team a year ago, the Rebels lost a lot and have double-digit newcomers. Then again, they had the same formula last season, and that worked out. 13, Auburn, 2025 record, 35-24, 6-18. Returning ace S.G. Guerin might get a boost from Rutgers transfer Ella Harrison. The offense looks for a similar bump from transfers Destiny Rodriguez and Alyssa Hastings. 14, Missouri, 2025 record, 25-31, 6-18. The only SEC team out of the NCAA tournament a year ago. Adding hitting coach Jake Epstein from South Carolina should help an offense last in SEC scoring last season. 15, Kentucky, 2025 record, 31-28, 7-17. The Wildcats have made the NCAA tournament every year since 2009, but haven't made the Super Regional since 2021. Pitcher Carson Fall might be their key.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Shooting on Elm Street was a murder-suicide, Springfield police say. Springfield police have responded to 4 homicides this month. And there's a picture of a Springfield police car. A Springfield police conduct a death investigation on East Elm Street on Thursday, January 29th, 2026. Springfield police say the shooting on Thursday, January 29th on East Elm Street has been determined to be a murder-suicide. Officers were dispatched just before 2 p.m. to a residence in the 1200 block of East Elm Street to check the well-being of a suicidal man, according to a news release from the Springfield Police Department. When officers arrived, the release says they located 25-year-old Ethan Mitchell dead inside the home with a gunshot wound. Devin Cogdill, 33, was also found in the home with gunshot wounds. Cogdill was transported to a local hospital where he later died, according to the release. The release says Springfield Police Department detectives determined Mitchell shot Cogdill and then Mitchell died by suicide. Detectives continue to investigate and ask anyone who has information about this incident to contact the Springfield Police Department at 417-864-1810 or make an anonymous call to Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS 8477. Cogdill's death marks the 4th homicide this month in the city of Springfield.
From the SBJ, we are Springfield City Clerk, Hotel of Terror petition insufficient, and there's a picture of the Hotel of Terror operating in downtown Springfield at 334 North Main. Sorry, we're having issues with the mic. It keeps popping up. In a letter to Hotel of Terror owner Sterling Mathis released January 29th, Springfield City Clerk Anita Cotter said a petition to repeal an eminent domain ordinance passed by City Council December 15th was insufficient. The ordinance would allow the city to use eminent domain proceedings to demolish Hotel of Terror, a downtown Halloween seasonal attraction active since the 1970s. There's a picture of the 2 owners of the Hotel of Terror, again returning to referendum process to overturn the eminent domain at one of the facilities of the clerk's office. Cotter wrote that for the petition to trigger a citywide referendum on the rezoning of the Hotel of Terror property at 334 North Main Avenue, petitioners needed to collect 1,499 signatures, or 10% of the city's qualified voters who participated in the most recent election. Cotter wrote that she and her office were able to certify 1,374 signatures out of a rough total of 2,407 signatures submitted by Mathis on January 9th. In her letter released January 29th, Cotter also notified Mathis that Section 14.5 of the city charter provides for petitioners to amend their petition within 10 days after the notification of insufficiency. The process allows Mathis and his supporters to file a supplementary petition no later than 5 p.m. on February 9th. Mathis told Springfield Business Journal in a phone interview January 29th that he intends to move forward in seeking additional signatures. "I'm going to get the rest of them, and we're going to move forward with this," he said, declining to further comment. Hotel of Terror announced on social media that it would be gathering signatures 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. January 30th at Chestnut Expressway and Grant Avenue. And I'm sure they have an update of the next place they will be gathering signatures. The city goals in removing the Hotel of Terror building is to replace the nearby Main Avenue Bridge, according to SBJ reporting. The bridge has been rated poor by the Missouri Department of Transportation and is closed to heavy traffic like city buses and emergency vehicles. The bridge is at the west end of the first phase of the city's Renew Jordan Creek project, which is creating a park-like amenity along a restored, once-buried stream. Hotel of Terror owners Sterling and Melissa Mathis had 30 days to acquire the 1,499 signatures to get the item on an upcoming city ballot, according to past SBJ reporting. That number is based on the turnout from the single-issue April 2025 election, which had a 7% voter turnout. This is the second time Mathis filed petitions seeking a referendum to repeal council action. The first time was in March 2023, when he submitted 2,100 signatures but fell short of the 1,000 1,568 verified signatures he needed. On April 10, 2023, he submitted an amended petition that was deemed sufficient for a referendum. A month later, Council voted to repeal its declaration of eminent domain.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Alliance Board hears update on enrollment growth in healthcare programs. Board hears update from program directors about students using its career pathway for the healthcare industry by Joe Hadstall. There's a picture of older people and younger people, some in scrubs. Students from Evangel University, Missouri State University, and Springfield Public Schools enter the press conference for the official launch of the Alliance for Healthcare Education on Monday, August 25th, 2025, at Cox College in Springfield, photo by Ellie Freistack. Dan Edwards, a program director for Ozarks Technical Community College, told its board members Monday about seeing students from several different programs take the same sorts of classes at Cox College. It's fun to see the different colored scrubs of people walking around, interacting and mingling, Edwards said. The campus is a hub of the Alliance for Healthcare Education, a partnership that established a streamlined career path for students as young as high school juniors to enter the healthcare industry. Edwards oversees one of the Ozarks Tech's offerings to the Alliance for Radiology and Sonography. He and other similar program directors presented details about student enrollment to the Alliance's Board of Directors during a regular meeting on Monday. The directors helped show how many students are taking advantage of the Alliance's pathways. Rebecca Johnson, Missouri State University's Program Director for Nursing Undergraduates, reported that MSU's nursing program has 48 second semester students after starting an additional 36 this semester. After an application cycle closed, Johnson said about 170 applicants applied for 112 seats in the program. 56 students will begin in the upcoming fall semester. Students in Missouri State's program work toward a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. The degree expands career options considerably, enabling the students to earn prominent positions in healthcare organizations, including specialized clinical positions and leadership roles. Stacy Bond, director of Ozarks Tech's nursing program, said the school has accepted the third of 4 cohorts for this expanded program. Its first and second cohorts had 30 and 29 students, respectively. Bond said 20 students are set to start the third cohort in March, and the school will soon open applications for a cohort that starts in June. Ozarks Tech's part of the program results in students earning an Associate of Science in Nursing, a key certification that enables students to hold higher-level, better-paying nursing jobs. Edwards, director of Ozark Tech's newly established program for radiography, reported 41 students across 2 semesters in his program. The sonography program, led by Program Director Michelle Massengill, has 19 students currently. Ozarks Tech launched the 2 programs last year. Students in them earn associate's degrees in fields that are relied upon heavily by doctors and other professionals for diagnostic information. Edwards said at least 70 have applied for the sonography classes next 20 seats, and that when the application period closes, he anticipates around 90 for radiology. Tina Pham, Director of Operations for the Alliance, reported that enrollment for Ozarks Tech's middle college program has opened and drawn interest from students in all 5 Springfield Public Schools high schools, as well as students in Nixa, Republic, and Logan Rogersville's high school. Through the middle college program, high school students are able to get real-world experience and a certified nursing assistant designation, enabling them to start working for healthcare centers. Alliance officials hope to have a total of 100 juniors and seniors enrolled when applications close. Recruiting high school students is one of the biggest areas of growth for the Alliance. FAME reported it is working with the Southwest Missouri School Counselors Association in April to reach more area high schools. Its first 2-year participants are preparing to graduate at the end of the school year, FAME said. We are working with the middle college team to show them what is still at their fingertips, whether that can be through Ozarks Tech or making a transition to Missouri State University, FAM said. We want to make sure that they know exactly where they are and what they would need to get into those programs. So we are working to have navigators from Ozarks Tech and advisors from Missouri State. Comprised of MSU, Ozarks Tech, SBS, and Cox Health, the Alliance recently announced the addition of Burrell Behavioral Health and Citizens Memorial Hospital. The announcement was made at an August groundbreaking for a renovation of Cox College.
Yes, every day should be celebrated. We have several holidays for Tuesday, February 3rd. African American Coaches Day, which is observed the first Tuesday in February. Today is also American Painters Day, as in a painter making a painting. There is also Doggy Date Night, so gather your doggo for a nice little night together. Elmo's birthday is today, if you want to celebrate. Fort Chaplain's Memorial Day, FOUR, is observed annually on February 3rd. It is also International Eggplant Day, so if you'd like to make something yummy. International Golden Retriever Day, another celebrate your doggo. National Carrot Cake Day, if you'd like something to eat on that doggy date night. National Cordova Iceworm Day, that's a new one for me, and I need to go look up what in the world an iceworm is. It is also National Missing Persons Day, so thinking about others. And National Patient Recognition Day for those who don't need a little more to celebrate. It is also National Wedding Ring Day, so I hope you know where yours is. And Take a Cruise Day, and that sounds lovely in this cold weather. And National Women Physicians Day, as well as the day the music died. That's what I've got.
This is from the Springfield Business Journal. Widow of city worker who died sues 3 companies by SBJ staff. The widow of a City of Springfield employee who died in a March 2025 incident at Noble Hill Sanitary Landfill has filed suit against 3 companies for their alleged roles in the incident. Plaintiff Lori Flett's January 27th petition filed in Greene County Circuit Court names Caterpillar Inc., Fabic Brothers Equipment Company, DBA Fabic Cat, and Pomps Tire Service Incorporated as defendants. The City of Springfield is not named as a defendant in the lawsuit. Springfield Business Journal is seeking comment from the companies named in the suit. Larry Flett was killed when a dump truck he was driving overturned and caught fire, according to past SBJ reporting. He worked as a solid waste operations associate at the landfill for nearly 2 years and previously served as a Springfield police officer from 1989 to 1998. The lawsuit alleges the Caterpillar dump truck involved in the incident was defectively designed and not crashworthy. Allegations against Fabic include claims that the company failed to provide warnings about alleged defects, failed to provide or recommend available safety technologies, and failed to properly train City of Springfield employees to operate the equipment, according to the petition. The lawsuit also alleges tire service performed by Pomps Tire Service 3 days before the incident allowed a tire to be operated in a defective condition. Unnamed Pomps employees also are listed as defendants in the filing. Flett is seeking damages for conscious pain and suffering prior to her husband's death, loss of companionship and support, funeral expenses, and other statutory damages, according to the lawsuit.
Springfield News-Leader, we have there's an easy fix for tampering if NCAA has guts to make it happen. Want to end tampering? Hit coaches where it hurts most and suspend them, by Matt Hayes of USA Today. There's a picture of a press conference. That's the word I was looking for before. Press conference with Clemson, Dabo Swinney. Luke Farrelly transferred to Clemson, then re-entered the portal to transfer to Ole Miss. Dabo Swinney explained how Ole Miss tampered with Farrelly. The old joke in SEC coaching circles goes something like this. Jeremy Pruitt got caught cheating at Tennessee because he had more than one bagman. Now it looks like Pete Golding could be staring at a visit from the NCAA, whatever that means / is worth, because he didn't use any go-between. He is allegedly doing the dirty work himself. Multiple coaches have now accused Golding of tampering with signed players, a move that's against NCAA rules, even though the coaching community isn't sure if it will ever be enforced. Tampering is a level 2 violation, which typically means it's treated as a breach of coaching conduct. In other words, you're on double secret probation. And if you do it again, we're going to be really mad because we're the NCAA and you're not. Which is to say, it has no teeth, at least not yet. Some in the coaching community want tampering changed to a level 1 violation and have specific sanctions and fines for each event, a loss of scholarships, or more damning, a coach suspension for each event. In other words, if what Clemson and Fresno State coaches allege is true and Golding tampered with signed players, he'd have to serve a 2-game suspension in the upcoming season. He'd serve 1 game, for allegedly sending texts to former Clemson and now Ole Miss linebacker Luke Farrelly, and another game for alleged illegal contact with Fresno State wide receiver Josiah Freeman. Or the NCAA could go even stronger, all but daring coaches to tamper with other rosters. The first violation is 10% of the season, 1 game. The second violation is 50% of the season, 6 games. And the third violation is a season-long suspension. If the goal is to truly eliminate this nonsense, there must be teeth to the rule. No more soft playing it. No more declarations of investigations only to find out months or years down the road the coach was given 1 year of probation and wasn't allowed to contact recruits for the first 2 days of the transfer portal opening, or some other do-nothing sanction. Want to make coaches think twice about tampering? Hit them where it hurts most. Take away their ability to coach games. Matt Hayes is the senior national college football writer for USA Today Sports Network. Follow him on X at Matt Hayes CFB.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. C Street Soccer Pub, Mumbles 1888, to open in early February. Mumbles 1888, located at 504 East Commercial Street, is tentatively scheduled for a soft opening February 5th through the 7th by Ryan Collins. There's a picture of a glass door that says Future Home of Mumbles 1888, with paintings of a soccer pitch on either side of the door. The logo of Mumbles 1888 resembles a soccer team crest typically found on jerseys and other merchandise. Springfield Brewing Company's long-awaited soccer pub, Mumbles 1888, will officially open its doors on historic Commercial Street in early February. Mumbles 1888, located at 504 East Commercial Street, is tentatively scheduled for a soft opening February 5th through the 7th, said Neil Chanter, co-owner of Springfield Brewing Company, the parent company of the soccer pub. The sports bar will host a grand opening sometime in March or April 2026. Mumbles 1888 lands in the heart of C Street, in the building that formerly housed Springfield Staple Ruthie's. The bar moved just off the historic street in late 2024. The soccer pub will be slinging SBC beers and Like Distillery, TID spirits. The name of the bar is derived from a popular pub crawl located in Chanter's home country, Wales, known as the Mumbles Mile. The 1888 comes from the year that the historic C Street building was occupied, as well as the year the English Football League started. Mumbles is going for simple, Chanter said with a laugh. Cocktails will include 2 ingredients or less. Open and slinging for all games, even early morning Premier League matches. There's a picture of Springfield Brewing Company co-owner Neil Chanter, and he talks about the bar's plans to accommodate soccer fans as well as other international sports, such as rugby and cricket, photo by Ellie Freistack. The goal is to be open and serving for every major soccer match that Springfield fans want to see, Chanter said. That will mean some early mornings for the pub, as Premier League, a professional soccer league in England. Matches can happen as early as 6 a.m. Springfield time. While it's a soccer or football pub, Mumbles will show other sports like rugby, cricket, darts, and Formula One racing. The pub won't shy away from showing American sports, even American football. Mumbles' opening will align with the 2026 Olympics, the Super Bowl, and then later this year the World Cup will kick off. With 8 TVs, there are plenty of screens to catch a match. Mumbles 1888 will offer some snacks like special chips ordered from overseas. But the pub will have an open door policy when it comes to grub. Customers can eat anything they bring with them. Chanter said the pub is working with restaurants on Commercial Street for food deliveries and to-go orders. Renovations so extensive, the company purchased the building last year. Once Springfield Brewing Company bought the space, they ended up doing a full renovation. While the plan was to rent the space on Commercial Street, once crews started on renovations, the full extent of work that needed to be done became apparent. Chanter said the company decided to buy the building and worked out a purchase agreement with the previous owner. Ultimately, when we figured out how much work that was going to need to be done, yeah, we bought it, Chanter said. Chanter declined to disclose the financial terms of the property acquisition. The SBC co-owner also declined to disclose the renovation costs for the building or the total financial investment to open Mumbles 1888. The building was sold in November 2025 and is owned by Lower Deck 94 LLC, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. The just over 3,900 square foot building was appraised at $202,200. Lower Deck 94 lists Chanter as an organizer, and the company is registered to John D. Hammonds Jr., according to Missouri Secretary of State records. The renovations were extensive. The historic building had 5 layers of wooden flooring. Chanter said none of those layers, including the subfloor, were salvageable. Concrete floors were poured as a replacement. The walls of the building had been coated in a century worth of cover-ups. Renovations included stripping the walls to the original brick facade. The ceiling, which was also coated in old layers of plaster and wallpaper, was stripped to its original look. Mumbles went to great lengths to restore and keep the back wooden bar, which was constructed in 1936. The building at 504 Commercial Street has worn many faces over the years, but Chanter said he is proud to be transforming the property back into a tap room. The building was first opened as a grocery store, then a second-hand shop, and a pie company. In 1938, it became Bradley's Tap Room, which was short-lived. In 1947, the space would become the Frisco Tap Room, which it remained for more than 6 decades, according to Springfield historian Richard Crabtree. After the Frisco, it became Ruthie's on C Street. The site returns to its tap room glory with the opening of Mumbles 1888. Technically, Mumbles 1888 will be yet another satellite location for SBC, just like the Brewery's tap rooms in Rogersville and Willard. In keeping with the other satellite locations, a small component of production will occur at Mumbles. The soccer pub will use the northwest corner of the building to barrel-aged spirits for TID. The property includes an upstairs apartment that is ready to rent, though there is not a tenant occupying the space as of now, Chanter said. Mumbles will occupy about 1,100 square feet on the main floor of the building. Walls to be covered in sport memorabilia donated by customers. Chanter has modeled Mumbles 1888 after a St. Louis soccer pub, Amsterdam Tavern. Inside Amsterdam, you will find the walls of the pub covered in sports memorabilia, mostly Premier League themed. The St. Louis pub takes donations from loyal fans who want to see their favorite team represented. The memorabilia is changed out from time to time, and the pub has plenty to choose from. Chanter said the basement is filled with all kinds of sports collectibles. Chanter has the same plan for Mumbles. The pub owner will start with the Springfield and Missouri staples like Missouri State University, Drury University, the Kansas City Chiefs, and more. Chanter said he doesn't expect it to take long to fill the walls with customer donations. Mumbles 1888 has hired Bailey Turner as the general manager. Turner has been with SBC for more than a year. Chanter said he was the perfect choice to lead Mumbles because Turner has a great passion for soccer and a pub themed around the sport. Turner spent some time in Alabama, and he and his wife frequented a soccer pub there. You don't have to be an experienced Premier League fan to enjoy Mumbles 1888, Turner said. I think it will be a cool place that you can come in for the first time and feel welcomed and check out the sport. While renovations and last touches are ongoing, Chanter said the entrance to Mumbles will display 3 phases. Welcome home, world sports, local drinks. Welcome home is a big part of what we want this place to be, Chanter said. We want it to be kind of your other home type place.
Several events coming up today and tomorrow. We have every Tuesday and Thursday at the Wonders of Wildlife National Museum and Aquarium. You have the Community Pond Dive Show. That is from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. Stop by our Community Pond exhibit to see our professional divers plunge into our 2-story freshwater aquarium and care for the fish and wildlife in the exhibit. This experience is complimentary to all Wonders of Wildlife guests. No reservations are required. Also, the shark feeding happens every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 1 p.m. Stop by our Out to Sea exhibit to watch our team feed the sharks at Wonders of Wildlife. The experience is complimentary as well to all Wonders of Wildlife guests, and no reservations are required. We have Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, a Parisian romance, a French date night cooking experience. Oh, no, sorry. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Saturday, Tuesday. Yep. So for the next week, sorry, let me rephrase that. From February 3rd through February 12th, they will be having a nightly event to celebrate the season of love with an unforgettable evening of fine French cuisine. In this hands-on cooking experience, you and your date will create a meal that captures the beauty, indulgence, and joy of dining à la Parisienne. Wine weaves its way through every dish, infusing each recipe with warmth and richness, and tying the menu together with unmistakable French flair. You'll begin with French onion soup, slow cooked to a deep caramelized sweetness, finished with a splash of wine and topped with bubbling Gruyere. Then you'll master beef Chateaubriand, seared and roasted to perfection with a silky red wine pan sauce. On the side, you'll prepare truffled root vegetables with mustard aioli, a luxurious twist on the winter harvest. Finally, dessert brings a playful challenge, the berry millefeuille. Layers of crisp puff pastry, pastry cream, and berries stacked like pastry Jenga, delicate, dramatic, and delightfully fun. After cooking, you'll sit down to enjoy the feast you've created while handling the cleanup. This luxurious evening is the perfect way to celebrate Valentine's season. Savor your love of beautiful cuisine and experience the romance of Paris without ever leaving the Ozarks. It's BYOB, so bring your own beer. We suggest a French red wine such as a Bordeaux, Burgundy, or Côte du Rhône with dinner, and something sparkling like a Cremant or Champagne to enjoy with dessert. Each ticket admits 2 people. You don't have to bring a romantic partner. Friends, gal pals, adult kids, parents, anybody you want to share the cooking and eating with is great. The complete event and policies can be found through their page. And this is at Pickwick and Cherry Kitchen, 607 South Pickwick, in the rear door. So there is also Big Screen Classics. Casablanca will be showing at the Moxie Cinema tomorrow. That's at 305 South Campbell Avenue. Academy Award winners Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman light up the screen in one of the most enduring romances in movie history. And you can find more at the Moxie website. And we have at the Gilloys, we have a movie matinee of Fried Green Tomatoes tomorrow at 325 Park Central East in Springfield. Doors open at 1. Trivia will be at 1:50, and the show will be at 2. This is a showing of the 1991 film Fried Green Tomatoes. And last but not least, we have the Plotlines filmmaking classes for youth. It begins Tuesday, February 3rd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Creamery Arts Center. It is $290 to $380. Plotline has 2 classes back-to-back on Tuesdays starting on February 3rd for different age groups. There will be Intro to Filmmaking, age 9 through 13, and this is a hands-on collaborative class geared at new and developing film and media makers. We'll explore what is a story and why it's important in film. Student will learn camera operation, video editing, and work together to produce short-form films with an emphasis on experimentation and fun. 13-year-olds are allowed in this or the teens class, depending on whichever is a better fit for their maturity level. Film production will be ages 13 to 18. This is a hands-on collaborative filmmaking class for new and returning students looking to explore a deeper level of cinematic storytelling. For examples of the masters to our own original story pitches, students will take the journey from creative idea to writing and then producing one longer form film during the semester. During the journey, they will gain experience in acting, screenwriting, directing, sound recording, video editing, and movie poster design. The 13-year-olds that are allowed in this or the younger class, depending on whichever is a better fit for their maturity level.
This is from 417 magazine. Groundhogs have too much power. To prepare for this year's Groundhog Day, here are 3 things to do if the groundhog sees his shadow, and 3 things to do if he doesn't, by Katie Pollock Estes. And there's a picture of a groundhog. Whoever gave Punxsutawney Phil this much power has a lot to answer for. Fun fact, groundhogs are the largest members of the squirrel family, but unlike their smaller squirrel cousins who chitter about in your trees at best, or gnaw through something important in your attic at worst, groundhogs wield enormous power, or so the legend goes anyway. Per groundhog lore, if the supposed king of the groundhogs, not his official title, but it should be, Punxsutawney Phil pops out of his Pennsylvania burrow and sees his shadow, he'll scamper back inside and usher forth 6 more weeks of winter for the rest of us. Honestly, who gave him permission to do that? If he doesn't see his shadow, he pops all the way out to go about his life above ground and let springtime take hold. Like the persimmon seeds that incorrectly predicted 2025 into 2026 would be an alarmingly snowy winter, Punxsutawney Phil is woefully unreliable. But just for fun, we'll play along. Here's what you should do in the Ozarks for whatever Phil decides. Shadow spotted. Number 1, cocoon yourself into a blanket in your living room. Build a fire in the fireplace. Set your phone to silent. Number 2, dream of a brighter, warmer future. Plan a summer vacation. Number 3, assume we may get some snow. Treat yourself to a new pair of boots. Tip, you can do this either way. Phil's not the boss of you. Not a shadow in sight. Number 1, break out your gardening gloves and prep your pots and plots for spring planting. Number 2, refuse to let the actual air temp hold you back. Embark on a sunny bike ride. Number 3, start spring cleaning and purge your closet of old duds to make room for your new boots.
I'm realizing I may have missed at the Parisian Romance. It is from 6:30 to 9 p.m. every evening at Pickwick and Cherry Kitchen. And speaking of more food, dip into the fondue at Mud Lounge Coffee and Cocktails. Whether you're craving something savory or sweet, the fondue options at Mud Lounge Coffee and Cocktails has you covered. And I am ready for lunch, and that sounds delicious. By Tessa Cooper. Be it of the chocolate or the cheese variety, fondue is the perfect winter indulgence. And what better place to enjoy either kind than at Mud Lounge Coffee and Cocktails at 321 East Walnut Street in Springfield. Their phone number is 417-865-6964. Between the warm, dim lighting and comfortable couch seating, it's a cozy place to bring a date and split an order. Their cheese fondue comes in your choice of garlic and Swiss, stout and cheddar, or pepper jack. No matter which route you take, it will make a delicious coating for the fresh vegetables, tortilla chips, and a toasted baguette. Or if you're craving something sweet, go with the molten lava chocolate version. This creamy, semi-sweet milk chocolate arrives at your table in a bubbling cauldron alongside exactly everything you'd want to dip inside. Think fresh fruit, cookies, pound cake, pretzels, and marshmallows.
This is also 417. Getaway to St. Joseph. Founded in 1843, St. Joseph is the perfect destination for history buffs and small-town explorers looking for a quick road trip, by Katie Pollock Estes. And there's a picture of the Pony Express Stables building. If you want to head north for a short weekend getaway, Kansas City might be the first destination to come to mind. But about an hour beyond KC is St. Joseph, Missouri, where history festivals and world-famous sandwiches are the talk of the town. Celebrate. This month is a great time to visit St. Joseph, thanks to the town's annual Sugar Plum Festival, November 6th through the 8th at Albrecht Kemper Museum of Art. It features handcrafted goods from local folks, specialty food, and cozy drinks. A great way to start the holiday season and do a little shopping for the people on your nice list. Explore history. Fun fact, St. Joseph has 13 museums, which is more per capita than Washington, D.C. If you're a history buff, you won't have trouble finding one worth visiting. The Pony Express National Museum celebrates St. Joseph's legacy as the starting point of this horseback mail delivery service. The Wyeth Tootle Mansion is excellent if you're a fan of architecture and woodworking, while the 1858 Batty House Museum focuses on Wild West history. And finally, an interesting spot on the National Register of Historic Places is Mausoleum Row at the Mount Mora Cemetery. Treat yourself. Take a break from exploring to get ice cream at Chris and Kate's. This quirky, charming building is in the shape of a giant pink ice cream cone and just drips nostalgia. The treats are tasty too, like shakes, concretes, and sundaes. This sweet little spot is seasonal, so you'll need to keep it in your back pocket for a spring or summer trip. Stroll the streets. Take a walk through one of St. Joseph's historic neighborhoods, where anyone charmed by lovely residential architecture will have plenty to see. Old Town North area is a must-stop, where the 3 districts are on the National Register of Historic Places: Cathedral Hill, Hall Street, and Rubidoux Hill are lined with Gilded Age mansions and a variety of other architectural styles. The Harris Kemper neighborhood is another great stop, with sprawling homes in every style from Romanesque revival to craftsman. Go shopping. Continue your holiday shopping or find a little something for yourself at one of the town's local boutiques. Juniper Lane features sustainable home goods. Clean Alchemy sells home fragrances, and Manic Snail is packed with locally made stationery and quirky gifts. For home decor, head to Nesting Goods, which sells some vintage and antique items, or Bee and Thistle, located inside a historic building. Fuel up. Did you know St. Joseph is the self-proclaimed tenderloin capital of the world? We're talking big, juicy, breaded pork tenderloin sandwiches. Our advice: lean into that when you're ready to break for a meal. There are many places to get this indulgence around town, like the Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, an Irish pub that's been in business since 1910 and offers several varieties of tenderloin sandwich. Or pop into the Hoof and Horn Steakhouse, St. Joseph's oldest restaurant, around since 1898. Afterward, head to the Den for a modern speakeasy experience with pretty cocktails and even some mocktails on the menu.
.417 Magazine, a Q&A with Bonnie Nolan of Bonbon's Candy House. Inside Bonbon's Candy House owner Bonnie Nolan shares how Valentine's Day means chocolate-covered strawberries, Swedish candy, and signature treats that make perfect last-minute gifts. By Jordan Blomquist. Pictured is Bonnie Nolan with an array of beautiful taffies behind her, and she is holding a bag of Bonbon candy. She's wearing a red shirt, beautiful blue eyes, and an updo with her makeup done well. 417 Magazine, what does Valentine's Day look like inside your shop? Are there certain chocolates or items that always fly off the shelves? Bonnie. During Valentine's Day, our most popular item is our chocolate-covered strawberries. We do those for 2 days, just the 13th and the 14th, and they are freshly dipped every morning for the people who place their orders or anybody who walks in to pick them up. 417. Swedish candy has exploded in popularity. How are customers reacting to the trend compared to more classic candies? We are having so much fun selling Swedish candy. It is an insane difference in the type of person who has started shopping in our store compared to before Swedish candy. It has started bringing in a younger demographic for us, especially college-age women, and probably about that 18 to 34-year-old range. And a lot of them, as we've talked to them, we've realized that they wouldn't have otherwise shopped in our store probably, and now they are regulars. It's been so much fun to see a younger generation of people fall in love with candy that we hadn't seen in the past. How cool is that? Do you have a personal favorite candy that you wish more people knew about or would try? So today's Friday, and today my favorite is the sea salt malt balls, and it is something that I don't think people would walk in and just try immediately, but I love the combination of the chocolate and then the crunchy on the inside from the malt ball. And then the salt is in the chocolate, and it makes it for me that I can't stop eating them. That sounds amazing. Does your favorite change depending on what day it is? It does. It depends on the day for me. Today was malt balls, but it could be something different on another day because I think that when you eat candy and you go with your mood and what candy fits that mood for that day, so it might be different tomorrow or Monday. Never know. If someone came in last minute needing a great gift, what would you steer them toward? I would probably say the bonbons specifically. One, because it's our signature item. It's a big, giant, large truffle, but also because there's a variety of flavors to choose from. I think we have 16 to 20 different flavors at one time. They're big and impressive, but also there are so many fun different flavors that they can mix and match. Then the presentation is so beautiful when you open them up. They always have fun decorations on them and bright colors, and I think that makes the perfect gift. Bonnie Nolan owns Bon Bon's Candy House at 2720 South Glenstone Avenue, Springfield, Missouri, 65804.
Hmm. 417 Magazine, the birds you can spot during an Ozarks winter. When you're trapped indoors against the cold, throw open your curtains and hunt for backyard birds. By Katie Polygestis. Throughout the pages of this magazine, you'll see us tell you again and again not to let your winter slip away in a funk, to embrace the chill in the air, get outside and make the most of the Ozarks scenery and wintertime activities. Well, on this page, we won't tell you that. On this page, we'll acknowledge that every now and then all you really want to do is plop down in your favorite chair, cocoon yourself into your softest and warmest blanket, light a fire in the fireplace, and melt into comfort. I get it. Even with all my cold weather advocacy, I need cozy days myself, lots of them. My recommendation is to do all the things mentioned above, but to do them beside your biggest window that looks out onto your yard. There you can keep your eyes peeled for your feathered neighbors, because although we often think of springtime as peak bird peeping season, there's actually quite a bit of activity during the colder months. Year-round birds are living their birdie lives like usual, and other species are migrating and passing through the Ozarks. Once you become a bird watcher with a capital B, you'll soon find yourself getting extra excited whenever new visitors find their way into your yard. But first, we prep. Before you drag your coziest armchair up to the window and settle in, do a little bit of prep work to make sure the conditions are in your favor. First, hang a bird feeder within sight of your hunker-down spot and fill it with a songbird seed blend. Hang a block of suet nearby for a dense and fatty nutrition bomb that's super helpful to birds during lean months. Plus, woodpeckers love them. Once your feeders are filled, get a trusty reference book. My favorite is the Birds of Missouri Field Guide by Stan Tequila. A copy of it has lived on the table beside her bay window for years, well worn and well used. It's great for beginning birders because you can look birds up by name or by their color, which is helpful if you're a beginner just learning to identify species. Spotted the colorful crew. Some of the best winter birds to spot are the ones whose bright colors pop against the dull landscape or freshly fallen snow. Blue jays, northern cardinals, eastern bluebirds, American goldfinches, and the very common but very adorable house finches. Spotted the friendly fluffballs. Dark-eyed juncos are more common here during winter, migrating from Canada. With their almost perfectly round bodies, they look like flying fluffballs. What they lack in bold color, they make up for in cuteness. Spotted the regal bald eagle. Although bald eagles live in our region year-round, winter is the perfect time to spot one for a couple reasons. First, migrating populations arriving from the north make Missouri eagle numbers soar. Second, when the trees are bare, it's easier to see who's hanging out in the branches. If you're lucky, maybe you'll spot the bald eagle's striking yellow beak and talons against the gray winter backdrop. Bonus if you live near open water. That's one of their favorite places to nest.
Meet the sandwich slingers at the sub shop. It needs good texture and flavor profiles from crunchy to smooth, sweet to salty, spicy to vinegary, says the owner, Ethan, at the sub shop. Pictured is Ethan. He is a thin man with a scruffy beard, glasses, and he is wearing merch from his shop the sub shop since 1972 and a trucker hat. There's also some merch behind him, some cups, some t-shirts, and hats above the soda fountain. The sub shop may sound like a generic name if you're not from around here, but to 417 locals, it's a proper noun and a household name. The original location on 1721 East Seminole Street opened in 1972. Between its nostalgic exterior and the fact that it's one of the few places left in town that still only accepts cash, it's like a Springfield time capsule. Behind the counter, you'll find owner Ethan dressing up sub sandwiches just the way his customers like them. He knows his regulars' names and orders by heart, and he's often been referred to as a sandwich savant. My time at the sub shop makes up a huge chunk of my life, he says. I want to be able to give awesome service to people and treat them like I want to be treated. He is a second-generation owner of the sub shop. His dad purchased his first location in 1977 from the previous owners and eventually went on to operate 5 of them. He now owns the one on East Seminole Street, while his brother owns the one on West McDaniel Street. Getting to grow up in a family business is a great deal to be in, he says. You get to work with your parents, learn a lot about life, and interact with the public. His own kids are now in middle school and high school, and they are getting the same experience. In the summer, they enjoy partaking in age-appropriate tasks like pulling drinks in the shop. When you place an order at the sub shop, you know you're about to enjoy a quality sandwich made by a mom-and-pop shop that takes pride in its work. He and his crew make all of the bread and baked goods from scratch, and they also slice their own meat and cheese. But most impressively, they do this all on a daily basis. The toppings on their signature subs are mostly classic, but with a few surprises thrown in. Just trust us. Don't knock cashews on a veggie sandwich until you try it. So what makes a good sandwich in his book? Fresh ingredients and being able to discern the flavors that are going in on the sandwich, and it not all coming out tasting like mayonnaise and lettuce, he says. Regardless of what's on it, it needs to have a really nice balance, so not too much of any one thing. It needs good texture and flavor profiles from crunchy to smooth, sweet to salty, spicy to vinegary. The sub shop makes the kind of sandwiches locals haven't grown tired of eating for half a century, and they will gladly wait in a long line for one. So if anyone is qualified to be the official authority on good sandwiches, we'd say it's Ethan.
We're done.
We'll have to do that outro.
And thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.